sound effects lied to you. It's not the Gig Podcast.
I remember that show.
This is TWD's The Manual. I'm the Polak prodigy, some people might say, sitting across from the Ukraine train. And that's Prodigy the rapper.
Yeah, not Prodigy, the Smack My Bitch Up group.
Nor like a child prodigy.
Oh, right.
It's been said in the streets that I am somewhat of a Caucasian prodigy as far as my rap skill set goes.
I heard that, and the people it came from, I would expect them to, like, everything I've known over time, they complimented you. So I wouldn't expect them to say anything particularly bad.
Right.
But the praise was over. I felt like it was over the top, to be honest with you.
Well, that's how I know that I did the right thing, by quitting my rap career
At your peak.
on a strong note. You know what I mean? Nobody could ever say anything like, he was dope in the beginning, but he fell off.
Right. He did too many albums, and now he's a mess.
Can't say anything like that. All they can say is, damn, I wish he would come back, man.
Right.
And that's all they do say.
They're looking for you.
And I'll let them keep saying it.
Everybody wants a piece. Everybody wants can I get a 16 from him?
Yeah. Nope. Did they ask you that?
They did not.
Oh, okay.
Not this time. But they asked to be on the podcast.
Oh, well, we could, if they ever show up in the live chat and ask us, then maybe we'll think about it. You know what I mean?
Wait till the project's done.
Listen, man, hang your New Era pinwheel on the hat rack. Come on in here and dust off your Timberland black chuckers, because this one's going back to 0203.
This is a perfect intersection of things, because you got me listening to that podcast now.
Oh, the blog era.
Yeah.
Solid podcast so far.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten past episode 2. Maybe I'll listen to it tomorrow at work.
I think that I'm up to 3, but I think 3's all that there are right now.
I'm taking you back to an era today. A foregone era. A bygone era.
A bygone era.
A gone with the wind era.
Foregone conclusion.
A doggone era where we wore pinwheel caps and Gerbeau jeans, and everybody's state property hoodie had a secret stash pocket in it. Now, whether your stash pocket was big enough for a ratchet or it was only big enough for a nickel bag, it depended on which hoodie you bought.
Right.
But back in that era, I don't know how to start this one. I don't know how to get into this with tact and grace. Tact and grace are not necessarily my strong points. It's more aggression and humor.
Yeah.
Is what I do better.
So we're here to memorialize, right?
Yeah, this is the tribute episode.
Okay. So
a partial part of the episode is the tribute episode.
So we're here to take you back to Daytop?
Well, it started, so let's go here, right?
Okay.
This past week, there's a few guys who go back in certain associations in my life way back.
Right.
There's been three associations when we were, at one point, we considered ourselves a gang. At one point, we were a b-boy crew.
Sure.
And now we're just a bunch of individual recovering Wigger family men.
Okay.
That is the Lakes Boys, VCP, and now TWD. So very few guys have spanned all of those eras.
Right.
Right? You got Smoke Dog, but Smoke wasn't VCP. Right? Smoke was never VCP. He was Lakes Boys, TWD.
He was peripheral to all that stuff.
Yeah, he's there. But he wasn't necessarily... He didn't have the VCP t-shirt.
No.
That said Smoke Dog on the back.
No, and I assume, based on what I know of him, if he did have it, he wouldn't wear it.
No. Really, the only guy who spans all three of those is Cousin Balk.
Okay.
Cousin Balk was VCP.
I was hoping he would be here tonight.
He might show up.
All right.
The other guy who spans all three of those eras is Jason No Skillz Rydell.
Okay.
Now, if you've been listening to the Gig Podcast for long enough, you've caught a No Skillz story here or there.
And even if I'm not mistaken, a No Skillz impression.
Oh, man, come on, man.
That's the one.
No pressure, man. Y'all tripping. No Skillz showed up. No Skillz has been an associate of a very good friend of mine. Whether I see him every day, like when we've worked together, or when we were both doing a juvenile bid together, or I see him once every 6 months at Home Depot like it's been recently.
Okay.
So I met this guy in the 7th grade. And I don't remember why. I don't remember the exact time that we became friends, but I'll tell you what I do remember was the first day that we were supposed to hang out.
Okay.
I call him after school. He goes, "Oh, what's up, man?" I said, "Yo, why don't you come over? You want to come hang out? Well, come through my house." "All right, man, I'm gonna get over there, man." Now, he lived about 2-3 miles away.
Okay.
So, No Skillz, before he was No Skillz, the incredible B-boy, he was a pretty serious an aggressive inline skater.
Oh, okay. So he had like the rollerblades with the plastic boot and
He
everything?
came, yeah.
He had the blue ones with the red wheels and everything?
Probably. He came from the era where soul grinds and Liu Kangs were a thing, dude. Because back in like late 90s, rollerblading looked like it was going to get real popping. That fizzled out. I don't know if there's anybody on Earth grinding down a 13 stair on rollerblades, but maybe.
There's somebody somewhere, but it's not a movement.
Yeah, it's definitely a dying art. But at the time, it was popping, and Skillz was good enough that he had like a buzz on the amateur level.
Okay.
Right? Like a few companies would send them some stuff like
some merch.
bearings or T-shirts.
Okay.
And there was a few local aggressive inline magazines that had pictures of No Skillz grinding down some rails throughout New Jersey.
All right, that's cool.
This was in West Hampton before he came to Washington Township. Yeah. But he rollerblades himself over to my house.
Okay.
And I go, all right, so now let's go walk up to Kelly's house. Because Kelly was the home base.
Right.
And he's like, all right, man, let me just put my sneaks on. And he goes into his book bag to retrieve his sneaks and goes, man, I forgot my sneaks, man. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, cuz you're going to have to walk around barefoot. Which he just kept his rollerblades on that whole day. He's in Kelly's house. We're hanging like in his bedroom on his computer with rollerblades on.
My mom would have murdered me if I walked through the house with my rollerblades on.
Well, the Kelly's house was the spot to be because there was no parents there.
Oh, okay.
So you could quite possibly watch Rap City in your rollerblades with no real questions asked about it.
Grind down the upstairs railing just to go get a drink of water.
Yeah. So and Skillz was one of the guys that I started smoking reefer with.
Okay.
Early in the game. Now he had an older brother, and he was like, so his older brother kind of had him ahead of the curve, right?
Right.
And Skillz was ahead of the curve on fashion, on music, on sneakers, and on doing drugs.
Yeah.
Which was mainly reefer at the time.
Yeah, the older sibling like pulls you forward whether you wanted to or not.
Well, his older brother, Uncle G, right, was a bootleg sneaker salesman.
Oh, okay.
So No Skillz his sneaks stayed fresh to death, but they were always, what nobody knows, and I can finally let the secret out that I've been holding on to years. I'm not here to besmirch the perished.
The good name.
But early on in Skillz' sneak career, a lot of those Jordans were bootleg. They came from China.
He was a reps king.
Yeah, they came from sneaks.com or something.
As far as I understand it was off the same line, so what's the difference?
That's what they tell you, dude. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he was early on, and he put me up on a lot of gear too. Like before Skillz came through, Skillz and Shane.
Okay.
Right? They came through and showed everybody Mecca and Pelly Pelly and Carl Kanai. These were all
the
things.
Brands.
Yeah, we weren't really. I was on like Tommy Hill. I knew about Polo and then like Nike and Champion and whatever.
So is this like still late 90s or are you already in the 2000s?
No, like this is late 90s. This is probably like 98, like 6th, 7th grade.
Okay.
So he was always fresh, and Skillz was he was the guy who gave me the idea to continuously use the term, I'm the freshest kid out here, man.
Okay.
Because he once said that to me, and I loved the way that it sounded so much that I said, you are, but so am I.
But me first.
Which we pilfered it from a movie called The Freshest Kids Out Here, which was a B-boy documentary.
I don't think I ever saw that. I'll have to look into that.
Oh, cuz you got to watch The Freshest Kids Out Here. The Freshest Kids, it's called. But one of the dudes is like, man, we the freshest kids out here.
Yep.
And then that stuck. On the topic of freshness, I can remember a particular time when No Skillz was driving I was driving his Explorer. He had like a 97 Explorer in 2006.
All right, okay.
I think it was the two-door one, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And we were driving to my ex-girlfriend's house, and I don't know why, but I was driving it, right? And I had on a pair of boots, and I'm like, yo, it's mad hard to drive. He was like, yeah, man, when you're wearing boots, man, this thing ain't that easy to drive.
Yeah.
And I know, like, that's some shit only some fresh kids would know. Here goes Smoke Dog texting me instead of putting it in the chat. We're opening the door to No Skillz phone calls if anybody wants to call and talk about No Skillz.
Right.
No Skillz linked me up with my first serious girlfriend, as a matter of fact. Because Skillz leaves Washington Township and moves out to Ariel, which I think is a neighborhood that suits him better anyway. He's more of a Sicklerville guy than a Washington Township guy.
Are you at this time, do you think you're a township guy?
I was a renegade at this time.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I was a nomadic guy.
Okay.
I don't know that I've ever been a Washington Township guy.
All right. That's what I was asking.
I'm not a Washington Township guy because that's where I'm from and that's where,
Right.
I started my career. But very early on in my ramblings, roamings? What's a word that I want to use?
You can ramble about the
Ramble
world. Right.
Very early on, I left Washington Township. Pretty much before a learner's permit, I was on the road.
Okay.
So he goes out to Sicklerville. I don't really see him anymore. Because this was my guy, but he wasn't like my best friend. He wasn't Smoke Dog.
Right.
Or he wasn't SP or Shady or the Jedi. Right? He was up there, but when he moved, like, we never really saw him again.
Right.
So time goes by, and I'm 16 years old, and we go through the era where I wind up going to Daytop, right?
Okay.
I walk in the door of Daytop, not knowing what to expect at all.
Right.
And here's No Skillz, who I haven't seen in 3 years. Here's No Skillz sitting on a chair in the entrance of Daytop,
Like,
right?
just coincidentally waiting to greet you as you came in.
Coincidentally,
Well,
yeah.
Like, I don't think that anybody walks around and says, hey, we have some new patients coming in this week and here's their names. And he was like, hey, I know that guy. I'm going to wait for him.
No. But the thing that was going on was, so I see Skillz and I'm like, yo.
Right.
He wasn't No Skillz yet at this point.
Okay.
He was still Jay.
Skillz?
He was Jay.
Okay.
No, he became No Skillz first and then Skillz later on, which we're going to get to that.
Okay.
He was still Jay at this time. Or Rydell. Yeah, we would call him Rydell.
Sure.
The reason that he was the first guy I saw is because in Daytop, when you get in trouble, they sit you on a chair staring at the wall near the front door in like the front entrance hallway. So I'm like, I could be getting about excited about. Vic wants these stickers so bad.
I know. I got to look into it. That's on me.
It's gonna get there, Vic. I promise you. And you'll be the first guy that we ship some out to. I promise you that. When we get them, you get them. So we're sitting in the hallway. I walk in. Skillz is sitting in the hallway. I'm like, yo, cuz.
Right.
What's going on? My whole demeanor switches. I'm like, oh, my guy's here.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm cool here. Like, if this guy's here,
it must be all right.
I ain't got much to worry about. He was like, ma, I can't talk to you right now, ma. I'm like, what do you mean you can't talk to me? It was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, right?
Was he in detention?
Yeah, he's like, I'm in trouble right now, ma. I'm like, what are you in trouble for, cuz? I got caught smoking cigarettes, ma. I'm like, you can't smoke cigarettes here? Oh, man. You're not allowed to talk to me because you were smoking cigarettes? This place is whack. Now, that's before I got 4 steps in the door.
Right.
So but it turns out that, like, that's what Daytop does. They sit you and make you sit in the corner, basically.
Right, so it really was just like dead coincidence that he happened to be there when you walked in the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're in Daytop. Now, as me and Skillz split ways, I got super heavy into b-boying.
Okay.
In this little stretch of life. Skillz was out there ripping and running and doing the same things I was doing, minus the b-boying.
Okay.
So when I get there, me and Skillz are kicking it every day. He's been there for like, I don't know, 9 months or something at this point. So he knows all the secrets on how to like get out of groups and not have to do like chores. And so me and him would spend the day walking around the building, and people would like ask us questions, and at any given time he schooled me and told me like, oh, it's between 11 and 12, you tell them you're on a fire run.
Okay.
Like, okay, we're on a fire. He gave you the whole rundown. He knew the spots inside of Daytop where people never went, like where you could just go chill. We had a spot that we called Poppin' in Maine, which was just like a little balcony off the backside of a chapel that was in Daytop.
Okay.
But nobody ever came through there, and the only people that came through there were people who like, you get respect via how long you've been at Daytop.
Okay.
Nobody has been there as long as Jay, No Skillz. So they would like come through and he'd be like, no, we're good. And they just would keep walking.
Move.
Yeah. All right. So at some point he's like, yo, you got to teach me how to dance, man.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, Skillz, I don't know, cuz like I wasn't immediately into the idea.
Sure.
I didn't immediately look at, because Skillz is not the guy that you look at and immediately think, yo, this guy looks like he's got some rhythm.
Okay.
I was wrong. He didn't. I've never seen somebody learn rhythm. And this guy, No Skillz, learned how to have rhythm, which is a respectable thing.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I had one rapper once that I worked with a lot that I had to teach rhythm because he didn't know how to land the snares.
Right.
And so I had him just sit in front of a metronome for hours just trying to clap on every click to try to get to it. And he eventually picked it up well enough, but it's surprising to see someone not have just a basic sense of rhythm.
Right. Yeah, I think that if you don't know rhythm, I don't think rapping is the career choice for you. It shouldn't
be. You need to be doing poetry.
Something else.
Slam poetry.
Short stories. So over the next few months, I teach Skillz how to dance.
Okay.
Now, me and Skillz are tighter than anybody, but the thing is that like we did zero dirt together other than like the little goofy stuff of like not showing up to a group or whatever. But like the serious dirt that was going on, the like sneaking in cigarettes and getting drunk on the weekends when you go home with somebody or hooking up with the girls, like me and Skillz never did any of that. We didn't associate each other with that. And I think part of that was because at the time when I was getting into all the mix, when I was in the mix at Daytop, he was kind of already past that.
Okay.
Right? But what we did have is that I taught him how to b-boy, right?
Okay.
I taught him how to pop. He wasn't much. So VCP was originally really just a popping crew, popping and locking. There wasn't breakdancing. I was the guy who was really pushing the breakdancing envelope for VCP.
Okay.
Even Balk wasn't breaking like that. He was more of a pop locker and a glider, a skywalker, if you will.
Sure.
So I teach Skillz. We're there for so long that he eventually gets pretty decent.
Okay.
And now me and Cousin Balk already have VCP.
Right.
I make the call without talking to Cousin Balk because I just didn't have I couldn't get to Cousin Balk to like run it by him first. I make the call to induct Skillz into VCP.
Right.
So we say, cuz you're getting good. You know what I mean? We need to get our numbers up. You're in the crew. I haven't talked to Sky Dub, but you're in the crew. If I say it goes, Sky Dub's going to agree with me.
It goes.
So we make some shirts.
Okay.
It was like art class or something, right? Because we're still kids.
Did you do it with puffy paint?
Yeah, probably. We're still kids, like we're 16, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have us in art class and we're like, we're going to make VCP shirts.
Yeah.
Probably for a talent show at Daytop or something, you know what I mean? And we're like, yo, I'm like, yo, we got name. Like, you need a B-boy name, cuz.
Right.
You can't be Jay.
No.
I'm like, I'll think about it and I'll come up with something. So like later that night, he comes in and he's like, into my bunk, and he's like, I got it. I'm like, okay. What do you got? He was like, my name's going to be, hold on, let me do it like him.
Yeah.
Yo, man, I got it. What do you got? What do you got, Jay? What's the name going to be?
What's the move?
Yo, man, call me Dr. Krills.
Dr. who? Krills.
Dr. Krills.
Okay.
And I looked at him and holding back the tears of laughter with everything that I had, I go, I'm going to call you Dr. No Skillz, cuz Dr. Krills is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. And No Skillz worked because he was okay, but he wasn't great.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He could hold his own,
right? And
he was a better B-boy than somebody who doesn't B-boy at all.
Sure, but he was definitely the bronze medal in your crew.
Yeah, he wasn't Sky Dub.
Right.
You know? So I'm like, I'm going to call you Dr. No Skillz, which then got shortened to No Skillz, which what we decided as time went on is that, like, we're not going to call you No Skillz in front of girls.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to do that to you, because then they're going to start asking, like, well, why is he No Skillz? And then we got to, we're just going to shorten it to Skillz after that. So he became No Skillz and then Skillz. So me and Skillz come home, and at this time, we're like 18, 17, 18.
You were in Daytop for like 2 years?
I was in Daytop for a year.
Okay.
From 16 to 17.
Okay.
Skillz is a year older than me.
Okay. So, it's irrelevant to the story, but Daytop, are you there for X amount of time, or is there conditions that you have to meet to get out?
They pretty much hold you until they feel like you're ready to go home. Or you get kicked out because you're not doing what they want you to.
Okay. But there's not just like, all right, you have to be here for 7 months and that's that.
No.
Okay.
No. They pretty much do what they want with you.
Gotcha.
So we come home. He went home first. I came home. Everything was all right. Now, we never got into trouble together at Daytop.
Okay.
Pretty much immediately, once we linked back up on the street, we're smoking dust.
Yeah.
And, robbing everything that we can.
It's like the good old days.
Yeah. Now, before Daytop, I smoked a little dust here and there. I might have, like, if I found a pill in a cabinet, I might have took it. Before Daytop, really, I was just smoking bud.
You're just a weed guy.
Yeah. Drinking, smoking weed, maybe a little of this, a little of that.
Right.
But in Daytop, I created this, I created a caricature of myself.
You had a persona?
Who I smoked angel dust.
Oh, sure.
Right? Because in that era, the dudes who were smoking dust were like they were like the wild street dudes.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing you want to do when you're in the rehab house, it's that act like you're worse into the drugs than you actually are.
Well, when you're 16, when you're a kid, you know what I mean? You do the things the kids do. So now I come home, and me and No Skillz now go full tilt smoking dust.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, one day we had smoked so much between the two of us, he leaves because he trips out, right?
Okay.
And I'm with Luch. Me and Luch get a call about an hour later, and it's Skillz. We're like, yo, what's up? Yo, man, I ain't fucking with y'all no more, man. We're like, what the hell are you talking about, cuz? He was like, man, I'm telling you, I just got pulled over, man. We're like, oh, damn, what happened? He was like, man, the cop said I was doing a 35 and a 34. I'm not fucking with y'all. I'm not taking y'all to North Philly, man. I'm going to rehab. And he hung up the phone on us. We were trying to call him back. No, we couldn't get through to him. He just went off the deep end one night. I will always remember, man, he said I was doing a 35 and a 34,
well,
man.
you can't be doing that. I mean, the cops are right.
Yeah. Absolutely not, dude. What you want to do is pay attention to the 34 mile per hour
you gotta
speed
be doing
limit
33
sign.
and a 34 when you're jacked up on angel dust.
So that was a funny.
Do you think he actually got pulled over, or do you think it was all just part of the trip?
Here's the thing about Skillz, bro. I don't know if he did or if he didn't.
Okay.
But if he didn't, and he was just playing that up for some reason in his head to like tell us like I can't deal with you guys. For the rest of forever, he never denied it.
Okay.
I don't know what the truth was.
Right.
I can't imagine that the shape he was in, that if he got pulled over, they would have just went, all right, man.
Yeah.
Get yourself home.
Try to keep it a little slower and good luck with everything.
Slow it down, buddy.
Pupils are the size of your entire eyeball. But go ahead.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing about Skillz that he was into in his late teen years. He really liked Xannies.
Okay.
So, me and him decide one day we're going to go up to visit our buddy Mikey Hove in North Jersey. We're going to take the train up. We're going to hang out, stay at Hove's, maybe go party, whatever. My old man drops us off at the train station for me and Skillz to hop on the river line to get up to the Northeast Quarter. I used to be a train surfing bull.
Right.
I love the trains.
Sure.
I'm still a big fan of the train. I would, if I could pack my bike and my truck on a train and then ride it down to Georgia this summer, I would do it.
Who told you you can't?
Well, my bank account. It's something like $1,500 one way.
It physically exists. You just don't. You don't want to pay for it.
No.
Okay.
So when my old man's taking us to the train, I'm looking at Skillz and I'm like, "You're bent, cuz."
Right.
And we get on the train. We're at the train station. My old man drops us off. I'm like, "Yo, you're bent, dude." He's like, "No, man, I'm straight, man. I just had a couple Zans, man."
Yeah, that's all.
I'm like, "Damn it, man," because now I'm like, "Damn, I got to deal with this guy being this guy, right?" He's like, "Man, just eat a Zanny with me, man."
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, Skillz, I'm not doing it, bro. Because I never really liked them, right? Like, Zans were not really a thing that I was into.
Okay.
Come on, man. So he keeps peer pressuring me.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'll tell you what. Just give me a half of one.
Right.
I'll take just a half of one, and that's it. Right? So I take a half. He's been eating them by the bottle all day. I take a half, and the next thing I remember, right? We're smoking a cigarette on the train. Everybody's waiting to get off the train in Newark.
Sure.
And me and Skillz are smoking a cigarette, just standing on the train waiting to get off. Like some real class acts. Real classy gents. Now, granted, I was an 18-year-old knuckle. I would never smoke on a train today.
Right.
I would vape quietly.
Sure.
And blow it into the ground
down,
so you don't see it. But I would never stand in the aisle smoking a cigarette.
What's going on.
So we're smoking a cigarette, waiting to get off the train. We get off the train. And at this time, right, this was before picture phones.
Okay.
If there was any picture phones, they were a rarity.
Right.
We used to carry, every once in a while, we would get those little disposable cameras. Mm-hmm. They were the jam for a minute there.
Ones, yeah.
Yeah. So we had one of those. So at some point, we got our picture taken at Newark train station, standing in front of a fence. No idea who took that picture. We must have looked like a bunch of goofballs slurring to somebody like, yeah, coming off the train with a cigarette like, you take a picture of us? You take a picture? We get picked up, and I'm out of it, dude.
Yeah.
I don't remember much of this night. I remember our boy Mikey Hove yanking Skillz out of the back of the car down in the East Village or the West Village somewhere.
One of the villages.
He's like, get the hell out, man. And he yanks him and tosses him out.
Did Mikey Hove know Skillz before this?
Mikey Hove knows Skillz from Daytop.
Okay.
So, and Mikey Hove and Skillz are,
they're tight.
They're tight.
Okay, so this isn't just like I'm meeting this guy for the first time and this is just we're not vibing.
Nah.
Okay.
No. He knows Skillz. He knew Skillz. He knew what to expect from Skillz. He knew what he was getting into.
Every bit of it.
Yeah, he got full skills on display. So, we're in the West Village, right? And we get the idea. We're like, maybe we should get a tattoo, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, we should definitely get a tattoo, man. So we walk into this tattoo parlor and we start talking to the guy. We're like, yeah, we want to get a tattoo. And he's like, listen, I'm going to tell you what. I'm not tattooing you two tonight. If you want a piercing or something, maybe. But I'm not putting a tattoo on you in this condition.
Nah.
So me and Skillz have a little huddle.
Right.
And then whatever happened from there, I'm not quite sure.
Did anything get pierced?
So we go to... The next morning comes around.
Okay.
And I open my eyes, right? And I don't know. I have zero clue where I'm at.
Okay.
Messing with Skillz got me lost somewhere. I could be in Skillz' grandmom's basement, or I could be in some stranger's house ready to be cooked for breakfast.
Sure.
I have no idea. I'm looking around like, oh, where the hell am I? And I'm just in a basement, and I look, and there's like a sink in the corner, like a utility sink.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, I gotta pee. I'm just gonna pee in the sink.
Just hit the sink, yeah.
So I go and I pee in the sink, right? And as I zip up and turn around, there's Skillz kind of like stumbling to life.
Okay.
And I'm like, yo,
The fuck are we?
where are we? He looks at me before addressing where we're at.
Right.
He goes, what's in your chin, man? Like, what? And as he says it, I look at his chin. I'm like, cuz, what's in your chin? We both got our chins pierced the night prior. Yeah.
Okay.
Not the look. I don't know. That was not a look that accompanied my style at the time.
No.
Not even a little bit.
No.
But we wanted, I guess we decided we were going to get twin chin piercings.
Sure. You know how that's not.
Hey, dude, nothing would be cooler than if we both get our chins pierced together.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the only thing
They can bump against each other when we kiss.
Yeah, the only thing gayer than getting a Prince Albert with your buddy is getting matching chin piercings.
I don't know. The Prince Albert might be might be on the other end of that.
Nope, chin piercings beat it. This was one of the gayest things I've ever done.
Whip your junk out in front of each other.
But that's,
I mean,
pissing contest.
Sure.
So I'm like, oh man, we got our chins pierced, man. I'm like, Skillz, where are we?
Where are we?
Oh no, man. I'm like, should we? He's not giving me anything. I'm like, cuz, I need some assistance
he's got anything
here.
to give, to be honest.
Here's the thing about Skillz. In all reality, I make him sound like this cartoonish buffoon.
Right.
But Skillz was he came off that way, but he was way smarter than he appeared to be.
I don't mean he had nothing to offer because he's dumb or anything like that. I meant
at this particular moment.
If there was enough drugs that you blacked out, he had to be far, far gone.
Yeah. Well, Skillz outdid me most every time.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know where we're at. Like, should we walk upstairs? Should we try and climb out this basement window? Like, I don't know the right move here because I also don't want to walk upstairs and a lovely family is eating at their kitchen table and here I am stumbling out of your basement from the night before because in a blackout I broke in or something wild like that.
So you've told this story before. And one of the things that always kind of stuck in the back of my mind was this. How frequently have you woken up in a strange place that you would wake up in a strange place and feel like, I have to be careful, I might not belong here? Right? Like
once. Exactly once.
Like once or twice I've woken up in a place that I didn't recognize. So I immediately went out the door to try to figure out, is there somebody here that, like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Right? I've never considered the idea that I could walk out there and these people would not expect me to be there whatsoever.
Yeah, well, you didn't live the same lifestyle as I did.
No,
you know what I mean?
understand, but I'm talking like get wasted, forget the whole night, wake up in a strange place, nobody's around. I got to do something. I'm going to walk out this door and figure out, hey, do I know anybody in this house? Did anything happen that you guys recognize me and I recognize you?
Yeah.
It never would have been, but maybe I smashed a window and broke in, but also smashed a window and broke in and nobody said, hey, our window's smashed. We better check the house and make sure there's nobody in here.
I didn't. Here's the thing. I had zero recollection of anything since getting my chin pierced the previous night.
But you didn't remember that either.
I did remember that, but I can't tell that part until the next. Like after he saw my chin, I saw his chin. I'm like, yeah, I do remember sitting in that chair last night.
Okay.
I didn't feel any of it. I also remember the dude piercing my chin, and I go, "You're done?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Is it cool if I drink?" He was like, "If I tell you not to, is it gonna stop you?" I'm like, no. All right. And then we wind up in a random basement. So I'm like, yo, the only thing that we could do here is just walk out and hopefully find a door and just get out of Dodge. Because I have zero idea what this situation, like there's not a girl there that like Skillz or me was sleeping with.
How do you know?
Not in the basement with us.
Well, no, not in the basement. I understand that.
No one was in the basement except me and old chin piercing.
Right, and I'm assuming it wasn't a finished basement. Like
no, this was a dungeon of a basement, dude. This was a dungeon of a basement.
Okay.
Like a Audubon basement or something like that, you know? So I'm like, all right, well, we're just going to walk upstairs and hopefully outside of this basement door, either there's somebody who knows us or there's an exit to like just walk outside.
Go straight through and keep going.
We walk upstairs and we're in the kitchen and there's a back door 6 steps away from the basement. So we walk up and quietly walk out the back door and just start walking down the street. Yep. Now, I'm trying to figure out, okay.
What street?
Let's find a store.
Okay.
Let's find something so we can find out where we are. Not to, imagine me, 18, 19-year-old me walks into your store, all bleary-eyed, probably still slurring my words, going, hey, man.
Where am I?
Where am I?
What year is this?
Right. Where am I? How do you get back to Camden County?
Yeah.
Camden County?
Are we at least still in New Jersey?
Yeah. So we're walking, and we see some stores and stuff. We're like, okay, we're starting. Like, maybe there's a gas station. We can look at a map, something, right?
Can look at a map.
As we're walking down this street, he's slumped behind me. I'm like, come on. I'm like, I haven't. What do you got me doing? This is why I told you I don't want to eat the goddamn Xannies yesterday. No, man, it's all good, man. He's probably. I don't know for certain, but I wouldn't be surprised if he still was shaking a bottle of Xans going, you want another Xan?
Right.
Man? No! I don't.
I think we've done enough.
Yeah. I want to figure out where I'm at, you know?
This should be the program at Daytop. Just get you hammered and drop you somewhere, and then you have to figure out your whole life right at that moment.
That's it, dude. That would work great. So we as we're walking, we come across a train station because in North Jersey, every town has a train station.
Yeah.
We come across we're in Fair Lawn, New Jersey.
Okay.
Which is like next to Patterson.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, well, really the only thing we could do is get back on the train and head south. We don't have cell phones.
Right.
Right? People had cell phones at this time, but we were hooligans.
Right.
We didn't have cell phones.
They weren't prevalent and they weren't easy to come by.
No. This was like the Nokias had been out, and I think flip phones had started coming out, but we still weren't on board yet at this point because we were worried about partying and whatnot. So we hop on the train in Fair Lawn and make our way home. To this day,
you don't know where you were?
20 years later, I still have no idea whose house that was, how we got there.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. Like
one of the great mysteries. I'll die without ever knowing. I'm going to my grave with some unanswered questions. There's no answers for this question.
Nobody in the entirety of this equation asked a second question or anything. We just don't know where we were. We don't know where we were. We don't know why. We don't know how we got there in the first place. We just left.
That was the type of lifestyle that me and Skillz were living at that point. Get yourself into a situation and then figure out how to get yourself out of it. Like the time that we were up north buying angel dust, Skillz had a mouthy girlfriend.
Okay.
Skillz has come from a long line of mouthy girlfriends. Because I think his mom was kind of a wild one.
Okay.
So I think Skillz spent a lot of time looking for a motherly figure.
Right.
which is why I haven't really talked to him, because his current wife is a little bit of a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Won't be saying no curses this evening, but
No.
I got zero love for her.
She's a little domineering.
That's a nice way to say it.
That's what I'm trying to do here.
So he's got this mouthy girlfriend, but his mouthy girlfriend has a car.
Okay.
So we're like, yeah, Mindy.
Mindy.
Yeah, Mindy from
That's a mouthy girlfriend's name.
Yeah. Oh, she was full Sicklerville John, bro. Full blonde Sicklerville John with a mouth on her.
Yeah. And a high ponytail, I assume.
Absolutely. Maybe her bangs were gelled to her forehead.
Bit, yeah.
And a Bonneville, I think she had.
Yeah, of course.
So we drive up, we go get a couple of jars of dust, right? And she crashes into somebody on Allegheny Ave.
Oh, okay.
You've heard this story.
I have.
She cracks the whip.
Yeah.
Victor Coco says. She crashes into a dude on Allegheny Ave, and we're all like, oh my God, we're going to jail.
Yeah.
Right? Automatically, we're going to jail.
What other options do you have?
And I didn't want to go to jail at CFCF. I don't think I had even been locked up as an adult. Late as hell, but I'm going back to this after. What's happening there, Aid? This is the this is the No Skillz Tribute. Our man, a good man, passed this week, so we're just telling stories about him. If anybody's watching and knows No Skillz, Jason Rydell, call 1-856-THE-GIG-0. I would love to hear a No Skillz story from somebody else. She hops out, and we're like, yo, get back in the car. I'm like, Skillz, you better get your girl. She hops out immediately and starts yelling at the guy that she crashed into.
Starts barking.
I'm like, Skillz, go get your girl, dude. We can't be out here dealing with this. We're with Friedel juice. 2 scoops the juice, right? Thanks, Aid. And I'm like, what are we gonna do with the jars, bro? We gotta get rid of these things. He's like, just stick it in your cheeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. All right. I never thought that this moment was gonna come, but
here we are.
Here we are with jars of angel dust in our butt.
Sure. And a mouthy girlfriend.
Now, Skillz hops out to go get mouthy Mindy.
Right.
Go get the bitch. And whatever, he's yelling at her. And we kind of like, she comes back to the car for a minute, then goes back to yelling at this guy, then comes back. Like, there was a little bit of commotion.
There's an exchange.
The final straw, she goes back to yelling and fighting with this guy and drops a hard RN bomb on him. And we all go, oh.
You can hear the record scratch.
And then I think Friedel Juice yells at her at that point, like, you dumb bitch, get the f in the car. Because now look, it's one thing, but we are not on, this is not our neighborhood.
No, this is not your block.
And we're out here trying to we're trying to be cool out here.
Right.
So we get her back in the car and we're like, just peel off. Because the cops aren't coming. The cops on Allegheny Ave don't care about a fender bender.
No.
They got other things going on that they got to worry about.
Yeah.
So we peel out, right? And we get to 95. We get to the bridge. Every moment I'm thinking, like, a cop is we're going to see the lights behind us and it's over for us.
Right.
But it wasn't. You know, we get to the bridge and Skillz pulls a jar out. And Juice pulls a jar out.
Sure.
They're like, where's
Now
your
it's
jar?
your turn. Yeah.
They're like, where's your jars at? I'm like, I can't get to them right now.
They're indisposed.
They kind of both turn around at the same time, like this is a sitcom.
Right.
And go, you swallowed the jar? I'm like, well.
In a way.
Yeah, kind of. And then we got back to Skillz' house. And in order to keep your dust fresh, you have to put it in the freezer.
Right.
So I went.
With mint leaves?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went and retrieved my jar, wiped it off with a little water. We put it in the freezer, smoked it. It was as good as fresh.
Of course it was. You kept it warm the whole way home. Yeah.
Fresh as you could keep it, man.
So of all the things that No Skillz has contributed to your life, and there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It is your one story of waking up in a strange place.
Yeah.
And your first experience with anal penetration.
Yeah.
Are both on his shoulders.
They both rest with him.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a man he was a guiding light.
He really showed you new
New
horizons.
experiences for sure. He brought me to places I never would have been without him.
Right.
I think that probably Skillz would get cleaned up while I was still kind of a mess, and would like kind of go, "Hey, look at me." Like I remember at one point I was still struggling, and he had a house that he was renting with. He had a pretty new truck.
Okay.
He had like a Banshee or something like that, like a nice quad.
Right.
And he had a closet full of guns.
So he was doing well for himself.
And I'm like, right. The only thing I saw was the guns. I'm like, you got clean and got guns, cuz? I'm like, you got out of the street and got guns? Damn. Can I get guns if I get cleaned up?
How's this work?
You know, that kind of thing. Or like he started a business before I started a business, and, was doing pretty well. Now, also, he forced me into going full tilt with business because of his domineering wife, I think. I think it was less of his idea, because we were on a job. I took some pictures of the job and put it on the 7-1 Construction Facebook.
Okay.
And he fired me because of that, right? I'm like, call. He's trying to fire me through text. I'm like, get off the text and call me. You know what I mean?
Fire me like a man.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said. I said, this is funny shit. Like, if you're going to fire me, talk to me on the phone. Like,
right.
He was like, no, man, I'm just saying, like, you got to go do your own thing. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but also I'm not trying to quite do that yet.
What?
So I don't think.
What's the objection?
I can't imagine Skillz being upset about that.
Okay.
I think that was his domineering wife.
Okay.
Going, why are these guys trying to act like this is taking money out of your family's mouth? When in reality,
how? It's
not.
Right.
But this is the kind of broad we're dealing with.
Okay.
She's not a.
I know. This
she's not
woman.
a sweetheart.
I know this woman. One of my uncles was married to this woman.
Yeah, she's not a sweetheart. And Skillz, in all reality, and I'll say it because I got no love or care about the bird, is that I don't doubt that Skillz' struggles stemmed at least partially from her.
From being trapped.
Yeah, because for a long stretch, he was killing it.
Right.
And then they hooked up and had a baby and got married, and things got rocky for him. And I can't imagine that she didn't play a part in that. And I hope she hears it and feels that. I hope she feels that. Because that's been my man since before you, sweetheart. That was my brother for a long time before you.
I understand that. Emotions are fresh. Maybe you don't mean that in the long run.
No, I do.
Oh, okay.
But you could check with me. I mean, you could check back with me. But
so he's got a kid too, though?
He's got 2 kids.
Do we know, like, where they are, how they're doing?
They're relatively young girls.
Okay.
The problem is that because of this broad and because of his lifestyle choices of late, he kind of has been not associated with everybody.
Distanced from them?
I think, because when his first daughter was born, she was maybe like a year younger than Sade.
Okay.
And we went and visited him and kicked it. And then, like, I think his wife was on some bullshit like, I don't like that dude. Like, great, I don't like you either. But that doesn't mean that, like,
right.
This is basically my niece. But, Skillz disappeared. And
yeah.
So I would only see him every so often at Home Depot. And every time I see him, we're cracking up and laughing and telling stories. Except the last time I saw him, he was in a rush to get out of there. And I'm kind of like, come on, cuz. Like, it's me, dude.
All right.
Like, I don't care where you're at in life. I'm just happy to see you. You've been my guy for this long. So I look at it the same way that I look at Ricky or Tom or Kenny or any of these other guys who kicked the bucket too soon, is that, like, one of 2 things happen, right? Heaven is real. Okay. And then you're chilling.
Right.
Right? Because if heaven is a real concept, everybody gets in.
Well, no.
If heaven is a real concept and God is forgiving,
but you got to ask for forgiveness before you've passed.
Yeah, this leans me away from heaven is a real concept,
listen,
right?
I'm not arguing for heaven, but conceptually, at least in No Skillz' case, he did one of the very few things that almost ensures you won't get into heaven.
Yeah. Well,
at the very least, you can hope that he's in purgatory and people are praying for his soul.
Well, here's the thing. Either heaven's real,
right,
and everybody gets in.
Everybody's swimming.
Or it just turns, it all goes to black when it's finished.
Right.
And in either which way, this guy no longer has to deal with all these things that he felt that he couldn't deal with.
Right.
So he's walking an easier path at this point. You know what I mean? Now, he's a dummy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't expect anybody to say anything other than that about me. Should the shoe be switched? Right. You know what I mean?
No,
you're a dummy.
And
the fact that I can't comprehend. There's a couple things I can't comprehend.
Okay.
The first one, because having a kid changed my entire life so much, I can't comprehend me going and doing drugs and then coming home to hang out with the kids.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't compute to me. Like, I would feel so terrible.
Yeah.
After Sadie was born, I slipped up once. And that was one of the worst days that I ever had. Like, immediately after trying to get high, I went into full anxiety and upset, and I was so mad at myself. It was terrible.
The high was ruined.
It was terrible, right? So I just can't comprehend that kind of behavior after you're a father.
Right.
You know, you got to deal with some other thing. Like, you got to put that to the side, whatever it takes. I understand the slip up.
Right.
Like, I could see how you slip up and that happens.
And you got to reboot, yeah.
Right? And you got to pull some strings and mix some things up and then come back stronger.
Right.
But I can't comprehend how you go full bore back into that kind of lifestyle after being a father and a business owner and a homeowner and a husband, and like you're damn near 40 years old still doing the same dumb shit we were doing at 20. It's just crazy.
Yeah. That whole thing can be self-perpetuating too. Like, I'm 40 years old and I'm still doing the same shit I was doing when I was 20. I don't still
have you stuck in
I'm not of any value.
It's true. I mean? It's an insidious little behavior using drugs. Like, it catches you in ways that are crazy.
Right.
So it's just, other than that, right? Other than being a father and going back to that type of lifestyle would be like, for me, it's really easy to say like, nope, not for me anymore, right?
Right.
Because the dust and the powder and the smack that we were doing no longer exists. You know what I mean? It's all bath salts and meth and fentanyl and xylazine.
Everybody's stepping their game up.
It's like, yo, I couldn't, whenever the thought creeps in of like, I could sniff a line or two.
Right, I'd be fine.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe I would. Right. Maybe I'd be at the bar drinking and I'd sniff a line and be a rap after that.
But odds are, also, it'd be like 10 lines that you're familiar with.
Odds are, it's not even cocaine that I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it doesn't exist anymore. So it's like, man, you're playing a wild game. You're rolling some wild dice out there. But, I mean, Skillz was not a stranger to rolling the dice. As a matter of fact, I can remember a lot of nights in his kitchen where we were up until 3 a.m. rolling dice. Actually rolling the dice. Me, Skillz, Uncle G, and Eats would sit in there for hours shooting dice, drinking Mickeys, and listening to the game mixtape.
Living the good life.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't got a tattoo in a while. I would say that Skillz passing could warrant a tattoo.
Get a VCP tattoo now?
I could get a VCP tattoo. I could get a rest in peace Skillz tattoo. I could get a dude that's just talking like this, man. However, you get a tattoo of this guy, man.
You get the vulture from the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things about Skillz, whether it's he taught me, and not purposely, just kind of by him being my friend for so long, is the idea of just accepting you, right? Like Skillz was a very, wherever I was at, he'll make fun of me for some goofy things that I do, but whether I'm tripping over my own shoelaces or I just won the lottery, Skillz was like, you know, you're the same guy. You're still the 12-year-old kid who we were smoking, you know, Phillies together back by the pond.
Right.
And that hadn't changed for all these years. So it's disheartening.
It is. It really is. And obviously I don't know him at all, but anytime there's a story like this, I like, there's a couple different things that kick around in my head. And the main one is I'm not stoic. I have emotions, but I can find a spot where
quit lying, man. Why are you lying to the people?
I can find a spot where I won't let the emotions dictate the outcome. Right?
Yeah, you're a man.
What?
That's what men do.
A lot of men just eat the emotions altogether. But when you're at that point, you've let the emotions win, and it just, no matter what the circumstances leading up to it are, it's always horrible and it's always avoidable. And I think that's the worst part, is regardless of what you think in the moment, it's always avoidable.
You'll always get out of it.
You'll always. Look, even if you got to live on your belly, you're still living.
Yeah. As long as you're living,
there's a chance.
There's a way to get out of it. Right. I think about it, and this is a much smaller scale, obviously, but I think about it on the past couple weeks. It's been on a regular basis where I'm like, I am not happy with where life is.
Right.
I'm just not winning the way I want to be winning. Right. And I think about that, and I'm like, damn, it sucks, and I gotta wake up another day, and I gotta do it again. But as long as I keep putting one foot in front of the other, something changes. A door opens for me to adjust what's going on right now towards something that's more, you know, hospitable to me.
Right.
And that's the same way. And I think that when I was out wilding and I didn't want to wake up the next day, I never had the thought of like, I got to end it today.
Right.
Right? I had the thought of, sure would be nice if I didn't wake up tomorrow and have to deal with all this.
Right.
But I would wake up and go, okay, one foot in front of it, just keep going, man.
Right.
Wherever you're going, just keep going.
You wouldn't do anything to induce not getting up the next day.
Nah.
You would do your normal thing and then consider, it'd be nice if this was all over.
Right. And so I understand it.
Yeah.
I understand that feeling. But I am, you know, we told you to call up and brag, so here's some braggadocio.
There you go.
I am the living proof. Guys like Smoke Dog and Balk are the living proof of, like, just keep going. Like, don't give up. Don't hang it up. You know what I mean? If you keep going, you're going to figure out how to shake it off, how to get things right, whatever those things are, whatever's going wrong in your life. If you just keep going through it, you have to deal with the tribulations to get to the triumphs.
Right.
So you just keep going and you get to the triumphs. Now, I'm telling you, I'm unhappy over the past couple weeks, but in comparison to you take a chunk of 5 weeks of when I was 24, I would have killed to get to this 5 weeks.
Right.
I can't believe that I'm a guy who has this decent truck in the garage, a couple of motorcycles in the shed. I got all this recording equipment. I got 2 great kids. You know what I mean? I got a lovely wife. I got all these things that I could never have.
So it's funny that you say that. So I don't think you know this. I don't think we've ever talked about it at all. But I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when during the first run when it was with Regis at night on Channel 6.
Mm-hmm.
And they're starting to replay the show on Game Show Network or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm paying attention to it because
you want to see yourself.
Well, I don't have any tape of it, so I want to grab it and then put it on YouTube or whatever.
Right.
And I went there and I won $32,000. I got to the minimum acceptable amount that you can win and be proud that you were on the show.
Right.
And, you know, for the longest time, it was, I can't believe I didn't win the $1 million. This was terrible. Like,
Right.
And my dad, it was all in good fun, but my dad was like, 2 more questions and you wouldn't have to work. And you know what I mean? Like,
Right. Breaking your stones.
And he's right. And he's breaking my stones. And that's fine. I'm not mad about that.
What's the question that haunts you?
What type of tool does a poet use? And then there was a list of 4 things. And the right answer was terza rima. And I asked the audience and they gave me an answer. And it was the wrong answer. But like, so the right answer was like 67%, and the next one was 62%.
And you went with
I went with 7. The 2 was the right one.
Right.
Like they were right there. But
so your dad's breaking your stones.
My dad's breaking my stones. I'm always thinking about, man, if I had just, you know, done a couple more things better, I would have been really well off.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm watching the replays, and I'm like, you know what? Because I only won $32,000 only. I never, like, I broke up with that girl. They're not related things, but like, if I had won all the money, I probably would have wound up marrying her.
Yeah.
And like, which just dramatically changes every last piece of my life.
Al ain't Al.
In completeness, right? So now it's great that I only won the $32,000 because now I'm here with Alessandro and my wife, and like that thing that you think was shitty. And I realized we're not comparing the same things.
No.
That thing that you think was like haunting you was a benefit to you all along, and you just have to put it in the right focus and realize it.
Yeah. It's all, if you're a man of a certain faith, you believe that it's all written out for you. And it was all a thing that was supposed to happen. And if you look at it that way, it makes a whole lot more sense than when you're looking at it going, that I can't believe that happened because it made this, and this go wrong. Like, you really do have to lean to the side of like, yeah, this thing sucks, but because of this thing, X, Y, and Z good things have happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the guy that I am without all the hell that I put myself through prior. I mean, maybe I'm a better guy. I don't think so. I don't think that I'm as well-traveled and as well-cultured as I am because of all the people I've run into, because of all the bad situations I put myself in.
Right. And to an extent, you're who you are because you had to work your way out of those situations, and that built tools for you that you can now employ on the appropriate side of the law.
Yeah. So, we got a 2-stroke motorcycle in the shed.
Right. The Husk.
We got the Husqvarna 2-stroke in the shed. Aid said, great, now I can come ride with you anytime, Aid. Anybody, really. I got it so somebody could come ride with me. Because all my friends didn't want to ride with me. They were scared of the rain yesterday.
Well,
bunch of busters.
Can't ride an electric bike in the rain.
But you could ride a gas one in the rain.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, man. If souls are floating around here watching everything, Skillz, I hope you're happy that we gave you an episode, my brother. You will be missed. You know, he was a TWD. He was a real one. One of the original TWDs. We are the other original TWD. This is the manual. We'll be back here next Monday. Go over to the TWD page, Thoro White Dude. Go subscribe to that. We're heading there. You know, and then come back here on Monday and join the next party. We'll have something way different to talk about next week. We out of here.